When we think of Malayalis, one of the few things that comes to mind is their connection with the Middle East, or as we call it, Gelf. Kerala's population is around 30 million people. Almost 10% of that work in the Gulf. Every third house in Kerala has at least one member living in Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Oman, Kuwait. You get the gist. The Gulf is basically little Kerala. California. Welcome to the Hotel California. We've been around for decades now and become such an important part of the Gulf and India's economy that some of the richest Indians are now Malayalis. In fact, the owner of Lulu Hypermarkets, Yusuf Ali, is one of only 6 Malayalis on the Forbes 100 richest Indians list. Others like Sunny Varki, Ravi Pillai and even Joy Alucas have benefited from the love affair between Kerala and the Gulf. But why did Malayalis move to the Gulf at all? Why are so few of us still there? And how much money is it really bringing into Kerala?
So, still confused, alle?
For all this, we'll have to rewind all the way back to the 1950s. When the Middle East started selling oil to the other countries, it meant more job opportunities and a greater need for labor. But these countries didn't have cheap skilled labor or a large population to do the job. Kerala at the time was suffering from high unemployment and ridiculously high political tension. There were strikes all around and not much of a chance for businesses to thrive.
We're not working.
A lot of these migrants were Muslims from Kerala who realized that it was easier to move to the Gulf than live amidst communal tension back home. That was when 13 Malayali men boarded a yacht from Bombay and headed to Qatar. But mass migration only really started between the mid-60s and 70s, and thus began the Gulf boom. Kerala got way richer. People started coming in with their cooling glasses and suitcases full of goodies for children, family members, family friends, neighbors, and basically everybody.
Soap, cheap, kannadi, chanda, potter, mascara, lipstick, perfume, everything is there.
What else did they get? No taxes.
Yahoo! Yeah!
As of 2016, money sent in from outside Kerala stood at 1 trillion rupees. That is more than the 2016 GDP of Armenia, Albania, Mongolia, or even Madagascar individually. After some time, people ditched the yachts, and sending people from Kerala to the Middle East became a full-fledged money-guzzling scheme. Recruitment agencies became one way to enter the Gulf. It usually wasn't very easy because of all the damn red tape.
Sorry for the trouble, Mr. Ravi.
These agencies would send a certain number of people to work on a certain project under a contract. The sponsorship system Kafla limited migrants to a large extent. If they wanted to start a new job before their contract was up, they were forced to get permission from their current employer. This often made workers vulnerable to abuse or being exploited.
I'm not quite sure where you're going with this.
Those who moved also helped their friends and other family members make the shift. In fact, people like my dad moved to the Gulf because they had other relatives in the area helping them make the move as well. However, being sent by an agency didn't always guarantee a worker's safety. Many men and women would be working for long hours under harsh weather conditions for people who would invariably turn out to be either abusive or racist.
3 Kerala youths being tortured by their Saudi employer. As you can see in the video, it shows just how the Saudi employer hits the men with a wooden log. The 3 men who were taken to Saudi Arabia by a travel agent on the promises of lucrative jobs, instead they were given away to the Saudi man for cleaning.
Women suffered the most because they didn't have opportunities at companies initially and worked mostly in the domestic sector, which wasn't covered by labor laws.
ഒരുപാട് കഷ്ടപ്പെട്ട് പിള്ളേരും നമ്മളെ ഉപദ്രവിക്കുകയും ആഹാരമൊന്നും കഴിക്കാൻ സമ്മതിക്കില്ല രാത്രി
ഭക്ഷണത്തിനകത്ത് മണ്ണ് വാരിയിടും അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അവരെ കൊണ്ട് തൂത്തിയെടുത്ത് തന്നെ വെട്ടിക്കൊന്ന് ഈ ഇതിലിടുമെന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞു കച്ചറ ബോക്സിൽ വേസ്റ്റ് ബോക്സിൽ കവറിനകത്ത് കെട്ടിയിടുമെന്നല്ല പക്ഷെ
To this day, only 7% of non-resident Malayalis who hold jobs are women. Women could either opt to become teachers, maids or nurses. They could become maids and risk themselves with employers they had no idea about. Or become nurses. Those women could be hired instantly because of the shortage of trained healthcare workers. Malayali nurses though are a complete different subject and probably deserves its own video. unique Mallu nurse video. While large remittances were great news for Kerala in terms of money, its local situation still suffered. Land, quality education, construction materials and access to that and more became very difficult for locals who decided to stay put in Kerala. A lot of those who moved to the Gulf are in fact now finding their way back home, either voluntarily or by force.
Sorry.
You see, after oil prices fell, a lot of countries in the Gulf had to tighten their budgets and let go of some of the workers. For example, in Saudi Arabia, a law called the Nitakat Law began to be enforced in 2013. This made it mandatory for companies to hire one Saudi national for every 10 workers. I mean, which is kind of fair, I guess. A lot of Malayalis suffered in the bargain. Also, contrary to what people might think, Kerala is no longer the top state to send people to the Gulf anymore. UP, Tamil Nadu, Bihar, West Bengal, Punjab and Rajasthan are ahead of Kerala in this regard. That's 6 whole states beating Kerala at their own game. That hasn't stopped the migration though. In fact, that Gulf money is still the backbone of Kerala's economy, with almost 20% of the population still depending on it. And honestly, I'd make a trip back for that shawarma too. The shawarma you get here is not even real shawarma, guys. It's not! It's not real!